So when you talk about people and processes, so how do you adapt, be it your systems, your scripts, your best practices to the different personality types?
Well, I think at the end of the day, right, many people always say, hey, we have different types of salespeople. We have the domineering guys, the influential guys, the steady guys, and the calm guys. Okay. At the end of the day, right, what really, really matters is which script works the best. Okay. Which script works the best? Which way to present is the best? Which way to handle objection is the best? Okay. So as a salesperson, I personally believe that we shouldn't focus on ourselves. When salespeople go and learn about DISC, they start to learn about, okay, this is me. But you should be learning DISC about your customer. And then you look at how do you customize that script when meeting that customer.
Okay, great. And yeah, okay. So what would you say are the typical ways of scaling a sales team that you see people traditionally do as compared to your own approach? What's the difference?
Okay, so my personal approach is, for today I coach sales leaders on how to scale their sales team, right? I also coach business owners who have to do sales themselves. They have probably few salespeople. I also coach them how to scale their sales team. So if I have to choose only three things, right? The three main ingredients on how do you build a scalable team, right? The first thing is build a sales playbook, right? A sales playbook is that process on the best way for you to generate leads, the best way for you to present, the best way for you to do your elevator pitch, right? The sales playbook also includes your competitor analysis in case your client asks your salespeople, what makes you different compared to competitor A? What makes you different compared to competitor B, right? The best way to do sales closing, the best way to do referrals, right? So everything should be in a playbook, okay? Unfortunately, most companies, they do not really have a sales playbook, right? They expect the salespeople to come in and do it their own way. So I always advise sales leaders and business leaders, first thing, develop a sales playbook first, okay? And in fact, I did a research and I found out something. 8 out of 10 companies don't even have a sales playbook. And this is the reason why there's only like minority of sales teams that is able to scale, right? Yeah. So first thing, sales playbook. Second thing, build practices. Okay. I always like to use the example where sales is like a sport. If you really think about it, right, just now I was listening to Simon's speech, Simon's presentation. It was very good because Simon was saying, you spend so much money going to university, attending a degree, right? But what did you learn? And I just want to bring that approach to another point of view where if you really think about it, if you really, really think about it, universities, education institutions, when it comes to business courses, they have almost everything. They have business admin, they have finance, they have marketing, they have management. But if you notice something, there's no university that teaches you about sales. Why? Okay, because sales is not something you can learn in school. Sales is something that needs practice. Okay, and this is the reason why when I was looking at the presentation just now, I think you guys are doing a great job because you're building a community of people practicing together, right? You guys can create a course for 2 days, but after the course, can people guarantee make money? Maybe, but they need to practice, and that's the practice is the one that guarantees them to make profits, right? So as a sales leader, what you need to do is you need to think like a coach. Put yourself like a sports coach and ask yourself, if you're training someone to learn how to play football, right? How do you train that person? You probably want to teach that person to first learn how to kick, right? You will teach that person how to run, right? And then you put them into tournaments. step by step from the mini tournaments to bigger tournaments, right? And that's how I look at sales. As a sales leader, when we want to coach our people, we got to give them step-by-step guide and then prepare them to progress. Okay. And one of the reasons, in my opinion, right, many sales teams do not grow is because when it comes to practice, I'm still at my point two, is when a salesperson does well, they stop practicing. They become, they are so chill. They say, I already know how to do it, right? But if you look at it, right, if I relate again sales to sports, let's look at the best footballers in the world today that is still playing. If I look at the likes of Lionel Messi or Cristiano Ronaldo, look at Cristiano Ronaldo at age 36, look at his body, right? He looks fitter than ever before because he's so obsessed with being the best, right? In fact, there was an interview that showed that he kind of go to practice sessions before all his teammates are there. He can practice himself first, and then he will practice with his teammates. Right? So if you notice, the best still continue to practice. Yeah.
Yep.
So that's my point number two. Right. First point is playbook. Second point is practice. And if I have to choose the third one, a very important one is it will be gamification. Okay. Sales for many is a very challenging business. Why? Because we face objections every day. You try talking to someone, they reject you, right? And that's the reason why my first two teams, people left because they were demotivated. I did not create an empowering environment for them to continue to grow. So at the point of time, I still remember I watched a football game. It was Manchester versus Barcelona. And then I started to ask myself, why is it that men are hooked on football, even though they are not the ones playing it? It's because football has this environment where there's leaderboards, right? You get to see who's the top of the league. And then they have these competitions like who is the top scorer, who's the top assist, which keeper has the most clean sheets, right? So the next thing, if I have to choose a point number three is look into how can you gamify the entire sales experience. Create leaderboards, create competitions, make sales fun.
Great. And what would you say are the key KPIs or score tracking that is essential for every sales team?
Okay, so if I have to use an example, right? Let me just show you guys this slide here. Let me share with you why I think football is successful and what we can learn from football, right? So in case we have any English Premier League fans over here, right? This is the current standing, right? And if you notice one thing, football fans will always lock in every Saturday night and every Monday morning to check out who's the winner, right? And then we also check, okay, like I'm a big fan of Liverpool, right? I'm saying that, okay, the Liverpool player right now is number one in terms of the number of goals scored. So how do you relate this to sales? Okay, this is one of the things that we do today, right? We build a sales management software where we have leaderboards like this. Who is the top sales? Who is the top leader as well, right? And then we measure the entire group. Who is the busiest person, most activities, right? Who has the highest activities? Who is the best when it comes to lead management, right? Lead generation, right? And we create leaderboards like this for sales teams. So this is the app that we have. Okay, this is our sales management app where salespeople are able to manage their clients using the app, and at the same time, our sales leaders are able to monitor their performance. Okay, in sales, in football today, they have this. They are able to measure the footballer's performance, right? They get to see, hey, what is the problem with this defender? He's probably weak at tackling. He's probably weak at interception, but he's very good at long balls, right? So the manager now knows the strength of this footballer. Okay, but in sales, how do we measure that? It's simple. We measure that by their processes, by their activities. How about we measure them from prospecting to appointment schedule? We then measure that to presentation. We then measure that to close deals. And from there, when we are able to measure all this, we now know whether a salesperson is doing well or not. Right? So one of the things I always believe is what can't be measured can't be managed. When you're able to measure, you are able to create what I call data-driven sales coaching. Okay. And if I can just end this part, right, with one more case study is this. Just think about it. Why is Fitbit so successful? All right. I've seen so many people, the moment they started using Fitbit, they lose weight. Why? Because in Fitbit, you get to measure everything. You measure your steps, you measure your calories, and you get to go into a leaderboard as well, right? Where you can compete with your friends. And then you get to see, hey, who is number one right now?